A high-value woman understands that standards are not walls that keep people away, but filters that allow the right people in. And this mindset changes the entire dynamic of how a man interacts with her, because she operates from a place of inner certainty rather than insecurity. She doesn't communicate her needs with fear that she will lose him, but with confidence that the right man will align with them naturally. She knows that the way she carries herself sets the tone for how she will be treated, so she shows consistency in her actions and clarity in her words. When a man sees that her standards are not random demands but reflections of her self-worth, he begins to step up without being asked twice. She doesn't chase validation because she already validates herself through her daily choices and the energy she brings into the world. Her calm assurance becomes an unspoken message that says she is not available for anything less than respect, honesty, or effort. This unshakable confidence becomes magnetic because it is never loud or aggressive. It simply is. And in that grounded self-respect, men find themselves wanting to rise to her level instead of asking her to lower hers. She knows that boundaries are acts of love toward herself, not punishments toward someone else, and she presents them with kindness and clarity, so there is no confusion about what she will and will not accept. Men respect this because it shows emotional maturity and self-awareness, and it signals that she is not relying on someone else to define her sense of value. When she says, "This doesn't work for me," she says it without anger, without drama, and without fear, because her emotional world is anchored in her own strength. She understands that expressing a boundary doesn't require attitude or defensiveness. It requires truth. Her tone is steady, her message is clear, and her intention is simply to protect her peace, not to control another person. This kind of communication disarms people because it's honest without being harsh, strong without being cold. A man who encounters this level of clarity understands immediately that she cannot be manipulated, guilt-tripped, or persuaded into lowering her expectations. Her presence becomes a powerful reminder that love should be healthy, mutual, and respectful. She does not chase love because she knows that love built on pursuit rather than partnership always ends up unbalanced, so she invests her energy into the people who invest back. She does not over-explain her worth to someone who is not ready to see it, and she does not try to convince anyone that she is deserving of effort. Instead, she simply aligns herself with people who naturally give it. Men respect this because it shows she values her time and her emotional safety, and it reveals that she has a deep understanding of how real connection works. She knows that pressure cannot create love and that chasing cannot create respect. She chooses peace over proving herself, alignment over attachment, and emotional intelligence over emotional chaos. This mindset draws in men who admire her strength because she does not depend on them for identity or happiness. She offers connection, not desperation, partnership, not neediness, presence, not pressure. Her energy tells a man exactly who she is without her needing to force anything, because she lives in a way that consistently reflects her standards. She behaves in alignment with the self-respect she talks about, making her words carry real weight. A man feels the difference immediately because she is not just saying she expects effort. She models effort in how she treats herself and how she treats others. She shows kindness without letting people walk over her, empathy without losing her boundaries, and affection without losing her independence. This balanced approach makes her unforgettable because she brings light, honesty, and calm strength into every interaction. A high-value woman like this activates the best version of a man not by pleading for it, but by inspiring it, and her steady, grounded presence becomes something he deeply respects and naturally gravitates toward. A woman who truly knows her worth approaches relationships with a mindset that is grounded in self-respect rather than a fear of being alone, and this creates a powerful shift in how men behave around her because she does not compete for attention or try to prove that she deserves a place in someone's life. She understands that being chosen is not the goal, choosing wisely is. Instead of waiting for someone to decide whether she is good enough, she evaluates whether he is consistent, mature, and emotionally available enough to be part of her world. She doesn't fall for charm that lasts a moment, but for effort that lasts over time. This sense of inner value becomes a quiet strength that men can feel immediately because she is not desperate for connection. She is intentional about it. She moves with confidence when she sees alignment and with calm detachment when she doesn't, allowing her actions to speak louder than her emotions. In this way, she makes it clear that entry into her life is a privilege, not a default. She doesn't chase after breadcrumbs of affection or hold on to mixed signals in the hope that they will eventually turn into commitment, because she sees confusion as a clear answer. She knows that a man who is truly interested will not leave her guessing, and this awareness keeps her from wasting time on situations that are built on potential instead of proof. She observes how a man shows up, not just how he talks about showing up. Compliments mean less to her than consistency, and empty promises mean nothing at all without action to support them. She values emotional stability over emotional thrill, and she chooses effort over excitement because she understands that long-term happiness comes from reliability, not chaos. This ability to discern real intention from temporary attention helps her stay grounded, and men deeply respect this clarity because it shows she is not easily swayed or manipulated by sweet words. She invests her energy wisely because she recognizes that attention is easy to give, but commitment requires depth, effort, and responsibility. She doesn't hand over her emotional world to someone who hasn't demonstrated that he can handle it with care. Instead, she watches how a man treats her when it's inconvenient, not just when it's exciting. She pays attention to how he responds to boundaries, how he handles conflict, and how he behaves when the initial spark fades. She does not tolerate half-love, inconsistency, or lukewarm effort, and she removes herself quietly from any connection that lacks sincerity. This ability to walk away without theatrics shows a level of self-respect that commands admiration because she refuses to abandon her own emotional needs for the sake of keeping someone else. Men recognize this strength and rise to meet it when they see that she is a woman who chooses with intention, not impulse. Her energy becomes magnetic because she does not fear losing someone. She fears losing herself, and she chooses her peace every single time. She maintains her dignity even in moments of disappointment, choosing not to chase, beg, or force anything that doesn't flow naturally. She knows that if a man wants to be in her life, he will make the space without her having to fight for it. And if he doesn't, she lets him go with grace, trusting that the right connection will never require her to shrink, compete, or compromise her standards. This quiet assurance makes her unforgettable because she carries herself with the rare kind of confidence that comes from within, not from external validation. Men deeply respect women like this because she isn't looking for a hero. She is looking for a partner, and she shows that by choosing someone who adds value to her world, not someone she has convinced to stay. She understands that communication is not about winning an argument, but about building a bridge, and this awareness shapes the way she expresses herself even in emotionally charged moments. She doesn't explode when she's hurt or shut down when she's overwhelmed. Instead, she takes a breath, centers herself, and speaks from a place of clarity rather than chaos. Men respect this deeply because it creates emotional safety, a space where vulnerability doesn't feel dangerous or unpredictable. She knows that real strength lies not in raising her voice, but in raising her level of understanding. So she focuses on expressing her feelings without attacking someone's character. When she says what's on her heart, she does it with calm honesty that invites conversation instead of conflict. Her words become gentle but firm boundaries, not weapons meant to wound. This emotional balance allows a man to be open with her because he feels seen, not judged, heard, not blamed. She has mastered the subtle art of speaking in a way that communicates her truth without creating unnecessary tension. And this emotional intelligence makes her presence feel peaceful rather than overwhelming. When something bothers her, she doesn't suppress it or let resentment silently build. She addresses it early and softly, keeping the connection healthy. She uses phrases like "I feel" instead of "you always," shifting conversations away from accusations and toward solutions. This approach shows a man that she is not trying to dominate the conversation or prove him wrong, but to create understanding. Even in moments of disagreement, she stays grounded, listening fully instead of preparing her next point. She understands that listening is not about waiting for her turn to speak, but about genuinely trying to understand the other person's perspective. This is the kind of emotional maturity that turns tension into teamwork and makes communication feel safe rather than stressful. She has learned that expressing her needs is not a sign of weakness, but a sign of wisdom, and she does it with grace because she knows a relationship cannot thrive when needs remain unspoken. She doesn't hope someone will magically understand what she wants. She says it clearly, confidently, and compassionately. This clarity gives a man the chance to show up for her instead of forcing him to guess and fail. She doesn't guilt, trip, manipulate, or emotionally punish someone for not reading her mind. Instead, she invites him into her emotional world with honesty and openness. This makes a man respect her because it shows that she values partnership, not power struggles. And when she holds her needs with dignity instead of desperation, she communicates that she believes she is worthy of being treated with care and intention. That quiet confidence becomes a guiding force in the relationship, showing both partners how to love with purpose rather than pressure. Her emotional steadiness makes her a rare presence because she brings calm into moments where others might bring chaos, and that calm transforms the entire dynamic of a relationship. She doesn't use arguments to hurt or silence. She uses them to understand and strengthen. She doesn't fear difficult conversations because she trusts her ability to handle them with respect. This trust in herself allows her to handle conflict with wisdom, choosing softness without becoming weak and strength without becoming harsh. Men deeply respect this balance because it makes the connection feel safe, supportive, and emotionally fulfilling. Her way of communicating becomes a model for how love should feel: open, honest, and rooted in mutual respect, and it inspires men to communicate with the same level of grace, patience, and clarity. She lives her life with a sense of purpose that does not disappear the moment she falls in love, and this independence becomes one of the strongest signals of her self-respect. She doesn't make a man the center of her universe. She keeps her world full with passions, goals, friendships, and dreams that existed long before he arrived. Men respect this because it shows she is not looking for someone to complete her, but to complement her. When she enters a relationship, she brings a life already rich with meaning, and this inspires him to grow rather than relax into complacency. She shows up as a partner, not a passenger, contributing joy, ambition, and depth to the connection. She doesn't abandon her hobbies, shrink her aspirations, or lose her identity in the relationship. Instead, she stays rooted in who she is, and that stability becomes magnetic because it gives the relationship room to breathe. Her independence doesn't translate into emotional distance. She knows how to balance closeness with freedom in a way that makes the relationship feel both secure and refreshing. She can enjoy the moments they share without clinging to them out of fear that they won't return. She gives him space to be himself, to pursue his passions, and to maintain his individuality, just as she does for herself. Men respect this because they don't feel pressured to surrender their personal lives in order to keep her happy. She understands that love grows healthiest when both people continue evolving, so she encourages growth rather than restricting it. She values quality time, but she also values the time they spend apart because she knows it strengthens their connection rather than weakens it. Her ability to balance independence with intimacy creates a partnership that feels equal, mature, and grounded. She invests in her self-care not because she wants to impress anyone, but because she understands that treating herself well sets the foundation for every other area of her life. She prioritizes her mental, emotional, and physical well-being, knowing that when she feels strong, centered, and confident, she shows up in the relationship from a place of abundance rather than neediness. She doesn't rely on a man to regulate her emotions or to rescue her from her insecurities. She takes responsibility for her inner world. This emotional autonomy makes her presence feel steady and reliable, and men deeply respect the peace she brings into the relationship. She doesn't depend on someone else to make her feel loved, valued, or fulfilled. She creates those feelings through her own habits, mindset, and lifestyle. Her strength doesn't come from pretending she doesn't need anyone, but from knowing she can stand on her own even when she chooses to lean on someone she trusts. Her life continues to expand because she refuses to shrink her world to fit inside a relationship, and this ever-growing sense of self makes her captivating. She pursues new experiences, learns new skills, and keeps exploring her potential, showing that her growth is continuous and self-driven. Men respect this because it demonstrates ambition, curiosity, and a willingness to evolve qualities that elevate the entire relationship. She is not stuck in old versions of herself. She embraces change and invites him to grow alongside her, not behind her or ahead of her. Her independence inspires admiration, not insecurity, because she doesn't use it as a weapon, but as a way to bring her best self into the connection. She offers love that is warm, supportive, and empowering, and she creates a partnership where both people flourish rather than fade?